We are taking every precaution that no man is injured in any way.
On this episode of The Electron Show, Dark One sees the past.
This is a song about a whale. No!
Meletius sees the present.
I have 5 o'clock shadow.
And Retro sees the future.
You can't download a pizza.
Welcome to The Electron Show, the program for the positively charged culture. And now, here is your host, Retro.
In the Game Lab, we discover what Sega has done to Sonic the Hedgehog and Zelda. Later in the conversation pit, we talk about movies and try to get Dark One more cultured, as well as a way to make frozen mocha cappuccino at home the easy way. In the tech shop, there is a discussion on downloading versus physical products and buying collector editions of games. And our funny folks joining us this week, from Canada, it's comedian and radio host Joe Crawford. And from sunny California, it's the real John Travis.
This is the Electron Show with Dark One, Meletius, Misun, and your host, Retro.
All the humanity and all the passengers speeding around you.
There's no worse feeling than that millisecond you're sure you're going to die after leaning your chair back a little too far.
This one seems a little hard to believe. Recently had a conversation with the radio producer, big time radio on the air and all that stuff. I was saying, young people don't listen to any music after 1985. Now I thought to myself, here's a money-making opportunity. What we do, we put together a new band of preteenies, boy band types, like a One Direction thing happening, and then we do this. All the songs are written by dead musicians from the 1930s, or let's be real innovative, let's go all the way back to 1892. Let's get those songs. And then we'll call our band Music by Dead People. That's a platinum record. Does anybody know if they still make platinum records? Am I the only one that works here?
You can subscribe to Electron Magazine for free. Keep up with new articles and informative stuff as soon as it happens. To subscribe free, just visit us at www.electronmagazine.com and select the free subscription information to learn how.
Hi, this is John from Big Black Delta, and you're listening to The Electron Show. Yeah, I follow this account on Twitter called Is Half-Life 3 Out Yet? And it's like every month it just tweets no. Like
And now, it is time to enter Area 52, the Electron Magazine Game Lab. The location is so secret. It is Area 52.
Hey, Jonathan the Big Black Delta, we have an article up about it, but he's a gamer. Yeah, I was telling you about that.
I saw that.
Yeah. Half-Life 2 is like his
such
favorite.
a good game.
Well, he said when they get off the road, he said he's going to Skype in with us. That'll be really cool because I want to get you, Meletius, and John from Big Black Delta together, and talk games because I think you two would hit him off. He might become a Meletiusite.
Meletiusite.
Yeah, and definitely Misun is a Meletiusite. Everybody's start a fan club for you.
Well, that would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty scary.
It would be.
Probably turn into a cult.
Yeah. And everybody, what they do is they wave tree limbs, low tree limbs.
Smack each other in the face
Yeah.
with a tree limb.
God.
That's the secret. The secret handshake is they smack each other in the face with a low flying tree limb. They wear
He
little
didn't slap back.
They wear little tree limbs on their lapel.
Yeah.
They'll have like a leaf insignia like stitched on their clothing.
And just to remind our new listeners is our Meletius is so tall.
Why, how tall is he?
Well, when someone looks up and says, "How's the weather up there?" he just spits in their eye and says, "It's raining."
Because he's that courteous.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a gentle giant.
Yes. Gentle. Like cheap toilet paper, gentle. Economically feasible, but chafes.
And you're ready to flow. I've been very naughty.
Well, it's both of y'all play Half-Life 2, so I mean, what's the appeal? Because it's it's guys with guns and they're shooting bugs. But
yeah,
I mean,
well, there's bugs, and then there are alien beings, there are insects that come out of the ground, there are some weird like military police group. They're just very strange, and then you have what's called the head crabs, which, well, basically they turn dead bodies into zombies by basically clamping down on their head, and then they have like this little. They look like a big spider beanie. It's weird, and it's got a fear aspect to it too. Just because of the fact that the further you get in the game, the more limited your ammo gets.
that other zombie game, that newer.
No More Room in Hell.
No More Room in Hell. Yeah, and when you find something, it usually just has like one bullet, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like when you normally start off, you get a handgun or you find different weapons around, and sometimes you'll find an assault rifle, and you're like, yeah, score, and it has a bullet, just a bullet.
It's quite a few years ago. One thing I do remember, though, the limited ammo. He started getting pretty far in the game, and he had to get creative.
Yes. I had to pick up. Actually, I started using the gravity gun and throwing 2x4s and pieces of shrapnel, and I got creative. So I started carrying around a big rotary saw blade, and I started shooting with it, and that worked for a while. And then I lost it. I shot it into a wall, and I couldn't get it. So.
Yeah, I have a philosophy of playing games. When I play a game for the first time, I resist the cheats and go through it completely, no matter how frustrated I get. Yeah, in Vice City, I love the Nutter Tools cheat.
Oh yes.
And then after going through, then I go back and then add all the stuff like that.
Did you use the minigun? Did you use the minigun a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I had a feeling you would use the minigun.
I'm a minigun guy.
Well, it's like, hey, you want to see something cool? Hold on a second, it's coming. Yeah.
I also like to blow holes in the head.
Dark One, this link you sent me. What's going on? What's going on with Sega? With Sonic the Hedgehog? What is this? I can't believe this has got to be a joke. This has got to be a joke, man.
This is silly looking.
This is a new low for Sega.
But it's got to be a joke.
Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I was browsing the internet, found this interesting link for Sonic Lost World. It's DLC that puts Sonic in the world of The Legend of Zelda.
That's got to be a joke.
That's kind of a bad idea, man. How?
Well, I mean, these are two different companies, right?
Well, Sega not having a system for how many years now?
Yeah, right.
They've
over
had
a decade.
to, distribute their games to other consoles, to other manufacturers. So they've been spread about Nintendo and Microsoft and PlayStation. So, this was going to happen. I mean, it's something we've been in denial about for how long?
I'm still in denial.
It happened. I mean, it's an interesting idea, but it makes me cringe at the same time.
Did Sega license Zelda and their stuff? Or that's what it looks like, because I watched the trailer, and it looks like that it's just a Sonic the Hedgehog game with sound and
skins and backgrounds and everything that they license or are grabbed or lifted from Zelda, right? I mean, it's just a Sonic.
It pretty much just looks like an official mod.
Yeah. Oh no, you know who's
like
going to completely freak out over this? Here's a good test. Misun. Here's the test. She's back there playing. She's back there playing her ocarina. I can hear her back there. So
that's right.
I'm gonna get her. Okay. Yes. Hey, Misun. Yeah, come in. You gotta. We need your opinion on something. Okay. Just here. Sit down. Okay. I'm gonna talk. Okay. Now look at this. Now look, Misun. Are you looking?
Yes.
Sonic okay.
Boom.
Now.
This is just
what
bad.
is this? Do you see what
horrible.
it is?
Yes. Sonic, you poor man.
Yeah.
What the? What? No. What? What is this? Gorons and rupees and cuckoos and what?
Oh my.
No. Sonic cannot be doing this. He can't. Nuh-uh.
So you've got Sonic the Hedgehog running around in the world of Zelda.
There's the Hyrule Castle in the background. There's the same enemies and... This is sad.
Why is it sad?
It's like they took some leftovers from a Zelda game and just threw Sonic in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's like all of the sound effects, the enemies, those Deku scrubby dudes, they're all from like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and the sounds like the cuckoos, they're all from the original games.
It's like poor Link is like, hey man, look, you haven't had any work in a while. Why don't you just run around in my game for a little bit? He's like, man, I really don't want to do. Come on, man, look. Microsoft doesn't want
Nobody's
to do
gonna see.
Nobody's
gonna see this.
Yeah, just come with me, and we'll play for a little bit. It's like, all right, what do I have to do? Just run around. This is sad. Yay!
But I really can't see Sonic just jumping around, getting rupees left and right, and following Link on his loft wing. What?
Oh, the rupees thing is weird enough. It's like a terrible rendition of some.
I can't see this anymore. Okay, this is frustrating. I'm going.
And ladies and gentlemen, Misun has left the building. She's huffing off with her ocarina. She's going to be back.
She'll never look at that ocarina the same again.
Ring the bell. I think this game is dead. This game is dead.
Yeah, I think I hear.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I hear her back there playing a Mozart requiem at this very moment on her ocarina. The requiem for Link's Requiem. Wow.
And the sad part is, they actually made another one. There's an advertisement at the end of the video for Sonic Lost World, and it's in Yoshi's Island or whatnot.
So what's the deal? What's the deal? Is it like an aging rock star or an aging Hollywood actor that's had their career and everything, and they're trying to like come back in a film with all the new hip people to kind of milk their career or something? Is that what Sonic the Hedgehog? What they're trying to do with Sonic the Hedgehog? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, Sonic has become the Arnold Schwarzenegger of video games. He's making a comeback.
So what's the bottom line opinion on this? I mean, none of us have played it. We've just seen it on here. Sonic has always been like fast, speed, zoom, roll up in a ball, and very arcade-like. Whereas Zelda is more of an adventure. So it's like, is that what the problem is? Is putting this arcade thing inside an adventure situation?
They're trying. It looks like they're trying to put Sonic's speed in a normal Sonic game environment, but the environment is the Hyrule Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of him running through a research facility or like an oil refinery, he's actually just in their world running around.
Wow.
Which, I mean, it looks like a normal Sonic game, but I don't know. Like the battle system just looks. It looks interesting. I'll put it that way. It looks a little chaotic with the bouncing around, but I mean, it may be pretty fun. I don't know.
So what's next? Is there going to be a Sonic the Hedgehog running around in Vice City?
No.
Actually, I'd like that.
I've seen mods for that. There's one for GTA 4 with Mario. That
Well,
alone is quite hilarious.
Well, mods are mods. It's like back in the Doom 2 days, people made crazy mods like, Barney the dinosaur is actually the, demons coming at you, and so you could, or there was one on The Simpsons.
Right.
Yeah, Homer Simpson, you'd shoot him and he'd go, dunk, dunk. and that's kind of funny to stick a mod on it. So mods are mods, but this is really strange.
That's exactly what this is. It's like a glorified mod, and that's what it should have been left as. But I understand it's free DLC and it's complete. It's not like, I got a skin. At least he's completely immersed in that world.
This is just an experiment that Sega's doing. Why else would they produce it and you can download it for free and try things? So it's like releasing to the public instead of having a focus group, like trying out new products on a focus group. Maybe they're just letting the world be the focus group and seeing if this will work. So both of you guys, you think this is going to work?
I don't think it should be a standalone.
Yes.
As DLC, this isn't a bad idea. As free DLC, it's an even better idea. But standalone, I don't think it works.
This is Mystery, and you are listening to The Electron Show. American theologian Tyrone Edwards once said, "Thoughts lead on to purposes. Purpose goes forth in action. Actions form habits. Habits decide character. And character fixes our destiny."
I don't know if you've ever seen these signs where you drive, but where I live in Canada, we have some streets that have signs if there's a deaf person or a deaf child that lives on the street. It comes in a yellow diamond shape, and the yellow, of course, means caution, and it will say deaf child on it. Well, when my mother and I was driving down that street and I was driving, my mother would say, "Joe, slow down. That sign says caution, deaf child." And I would turn to her and say, "What?"
Hey, this is Zelda. I'm not in right now. Please leave a message.
Zelda, it's me, Link. It's not the Blue Fairies thing, is it? Tweet me.
Do you know something cool that we should know about? Is there something we forgot to talk about? Let us know. Contact us at www.electronmagazine.com.
And we aim to entertain you. They were trained by Dr. Spock.
And now, it is time to enter Area 42, the Electron Magazine Tech Shop.
We're obviously going into a period where all media is going to be downloaded. I don't even know if we're going to even call it downloading in the future. And when I say future, I mean near future. That will just be the normal way, to get everything. Of course, you can't download a pizza. You can't call up and order a pizza. Of course, you can get on, a website and order a pizza and then it shows up. As far as games and whatnot, of course, you get a lot of stuff from Steam, correct?
Recently, yes.
Recently, okay. Mm-hmm. And of course, getting the Grand Theft Auto stuff from Steam and everything. But what is your personal philosophy on physical product versus virtual product?
With physical product, I personally feel like I have a greater sense of ownership. I have an actual physical release of a product. Mm-hmm. And it comes with nifty box art, and most not all now, but most of the data is on the disk. Therefore, you're not downloading a severe amount of data from your ISP, racking up your data on your data cap. The benefit of digital copy, obviously you're taking up less space, especially if you're a hardcore gamer. You can wind up with a ton of cases everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with me. I've got several cases to games.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of a wonderful thing? It's almost like I know people that proudly display it. They actually build special shelves like I've done for DVDs. They have special shelves and everything where they have all their software and it's like on display and you look and you can see it like, people have bookshelves.
I'm definitely one of those people.
Yeah.
I've got shelves dedicated just to games.
Yeah.
There's also the benefit, especially with Steam, Gamefly, I believe it's called Green Man Gaming, and Gamersgate. They offer tremendously low prices, sales on games, just wonderful. For instance, with GTA 4, I got that plus the expansions for under $5.
Gee.
Because I got it digital. I was waiting for a physical copy to go down, which, to my knowledge, there was no release for PC with the complete version of GTA 4. And it would not drop below $9 retail.
Right.
So obviously I opted for the cheaper option.
Well, cheaper, and yes, I also would wait on games, and I'm... It's not that I'm a miser or anything. Basically it got to where the going rate for new releases in just the past several years, you get a box, you get a disc, you get a manual inside, and it was around $60. Well, if you can download it and you get the manual, PDF version of the manual, and you get the stuff, and it's $5 or $10. Actually, the game developers probably that's all they get, or that might be more than they would get from the going through the rigmarole of putting out a physical product, because you have the retail stores that have to shelve it. You got shelf space. You have employees that have to put it on the shelf. You've got shipping to get it there. All kinds of logistics. You have the printing presses to print the manuals, on and on and on. Every little step of the way adds to the cost. Well, if you eliminate all the physical shipping, printing, everything else, and of course the software that's on the disc is just a delivery system. What's interesting is a lot of people don't understand that when you buy something physical, you're really not buying something physical. You're buying that software that happens to be delivered in that physical fashion. So you're getting the same software, downloading and everything, but because you don't have to go through all those physical steps and logistics, not only can it be released quicker and you can get it faster than waiting for it to show up in a retail store, but actually game developers can get a little more profit, a little more as far as royalties go, than they would actually from us buying a physical product for $60 in a store. And, of course, that leads to better games because they have more resources, more funding to develop better games, and so it helps. So at the same time, when I really embrace getting media in a digital fashion, at the same time, I do miss that, I guess, it's like grabbing a teddy bear and giving it a hug.
It seems like they're going in the direction of keeping some versions of these games as physical copies, like collector's editions, for example,
right,
where they've already, developed little statues, or I think one game released a little RC car. That would make sense. You've got collector's items. Why not get a physical copy with it so you can show the entire thing off?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened with the music industry in the late, in the 20th century, late 20th century. Of course, the collector's edition Metroid Prime 3, Misun really wanted that. She wanted it so bad. And we went to one of those stores that sells used product. This is an interesting story in itself. because I noticed we have several of those stores within a very short distance, like 4 of them. So we went to all the different ones. They all had the same used copy. It was in this crummy white, basically a DVD case. And it was supposedly used, but the original game collection sold for right at $50 retail. They were selling it for $80. You got the one disc in this replacement case, and there was this manual inside. But what was strange is the manual, you could smell the new printing ink smell. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. So what I did is I said, calm down. Let's look on the auction sites and what have you. Long story short, we found a copy of it, and it came in this really cool metal case that actually was hinged. It had this plastic insert that everything slid into. It had all the discs with it, had all the manuals with it, had all the advertising inserts with it. Even the price sticker residue was still on the slip cover on the outside. We ended up getting it for what it originally retailed for, but it was a heck of a lot cheaper than buying this piece of junk. Well, I'm sorry, but it was a piece of junk. Really cashing in on people that really wanted the game that didn't catch it the first time around. But we ended up with a beautiful copy, and it was in perfect condition, like we bought it retail when it first came out.
You gotta love that feeling.
Oh, yeah. That's a great feeling. And so just, guys, the bottom line of this whole lesson and what we've been talking about is be patient.
Sometimes you hear a beat, and that'll lead to a chord progression, or you have a melody, or you have a vocal, or you have just a word, you know? And every time it's different. I wish I had a complete mastery of it, but it's like it chooses you a lot of times. And my job is just to be available. So just practice, do whatever, be available every day. And then if you're lucky, the universe will be like, oh, by the way, here's a little melody. And you're just like, thank you. Because, I mean, nothing is yours. It's all in the zeitgeist, you know what I mean? And so if you're respectful to the universe, I say this like I know, but I'm knock on wood, if you're respectful to the universe and how things conjure up, it might bless you every once in a while, you know? Yeah.
Extraordinary.
This is the Electron Show. Contact us at www.electronmagazine.com.
And now, another episode of Sparkle Girl.
In math class today, the teacher told me that it wasn't actually possible to trap a Zoid.
Tune in again next time for another episode of Sparkle Girl.
And now, it is time to enter Area 11, the Conversation Pit.
Lay in the wax and spin in the sounds for you.
We have to talk about movies. We didn't talk about it last week, so I like good movies. Everybody likes good movies. I'm not sure about the movies today. It's like we're watching cartoons that defy physics, which, if it's a Bugs Bunny, are good Tex Avery. Eyeballs popping out, you know, girls, where's the girls? That's fine and everything. But, of course, the Stan Lee-inspired superhero movies are great. I think they're awesome. Until I saw Captain America. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was a little disappointed or whatever. But
you're not the only one.
Yeah, anyway, and the new one is released. So, yeah, we're all looking forward to that one. It's called The Apology. It's like Captain America 2, The Apology. We're sorry, guys. Here's the real one. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. So I like these good old movies and everything. So I introduced Misun to Young Frankenstein, Mel Brooks. And, of course, not long ago we were discussing Spaceballs, also by the same director. Classic comedy movie. But I think his best work is Young Frankenstein. the complete spoof of basically Frankenstein. But you can't see that film unless you've seen the original 1930s, early 1930s, Bride of Frankenstein. Now, have either of you seen the original Bride of Frankenstein?
I have.
Well, I know you've seen everything. You're a walking
not
movie
everything,
catalog.
but
Well, Meletius has seen everything. I've seen absolutely nothing.
You have to see, would you agree with me, Meletius, that to really appreciate Mel Brooks' classic work of Young Frankenstein, wouldn't you really need to see the original Bride of Frankenstein first?
I would agree with you. I mean,
you can appreciate the comedy and everything, and you can
Right.
still, it's really, really funny. But if you know that the studio complained originally with Mel Brooks and said, look at this bad camera work, and he's like, you don't get it. That's on purpose. That's part of the comedy because that's what they did. They literally would drag those big cameras with whatever was available in 1934, I think is when it came out. But they would literally have a guy with a rope, over his shoulder, and he's like dragging, to be able to pull the camera. And
gotta get the scene. Go, go, go.
Yeah. But see, another classic comedy film that I think people should see is Kung Pao.
Yeah,
it's a classic work,
that's
and he
true.
loves kung fu movies, and so he did kind of what Mel Brooks did with Young Frankenstein, but he did it for kung fu movies. Now, have either of you seen that?
I own it.
I do too. I have a copy of it. Gee, let's see.
Of course, I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
where have you been?
You jumped the gun. I'm like, have you ever? You have to understand, Dark One is so dedicated to the preservation of the video game console that any spare time he has, he's going to yard sales or flea markets or whatever, and he's digging through boxes. If we're walking down the street and there's a box and there's wires sticking out of this cardboard box, he absolutely it's almost like a dope.
Watch out.
Well, it's a dope addict. Yeah, he's like a dope addict. He's like,
out.
there's a box over there with wires sticking out,
and then you hear the move.
I mean, there could be
yes.
There could be a
Meletius has seen it.
There could be a ColecoVision in there. There could be a VIC-20. Who knows? Or
it could just be wires. It doesn't matter. I will be checking it.
Yes.
Well, you have discovered gold. You have discovered gold like that. Boxes that have little wires sticking out. Yeah, he has discovered gold like that. So we can't blame him. You just stay the heck out of his way. Let him do his thing.
Safest for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. But what we have to do is we have to bring culture to this young man's world.
I am the most uncultured person.
I wouldn't say that because when we were waiting for Meletius to jump in with us, you're sitting there surfing, trying to find a good source for green tea, and we have to turn you on to some good Korean stuff. And ginseng root. And
ginseng is really good.
Yeah. So we had, and of course, in our house, we have really good 400-year-old red ginseng root. And you snip off, like a little nub of it, and you boil it and boil it and boil it. And then you pour that off, and then you smush it up, and you boil it and boil it again. You smush that and boil it. And it's awesome. And we mix it with, other things. So we're going to get Dark One over here. We're going to feed him some ginseng tea. And we're going to park him in front of the monitor, and we're going to make him watch a classic Star Trek episode.
That sounds like fun.
Well, Meletius, do you have any suggestions? Just one just immediately popped to mind.
The episode where Kirk and Spock had to fight to the death.
A mock time?
It's just a... I don't know. That episode it's a good episode, but it's kind of like a carefree kind of episode, the fight is funny. Some people may disagree with it, and like, oh, that's real serious stuff. But
we actually came up with that, Misun and myself, and we felt that episode is kind of specialized because you really have to get familiar with the Spock character, then to understand and feel what he's going through.
Oh yeah, true.
So it's a difficult thing. Of course, you thought of Man Trap, the salt vampire, which is actually the first episode that was ever shown back in the 60s when they first were showing it,
Really?
Which is a really good episode. then again, there's so many different episodes, and we kind of narrowed it down to the second season. But my absolute favorite classic Star Trek episode is the Enterprise incident, and that's where Kirk supposedly like freaks out and was working too hard, and he freaks out and he commands them to go into the Romulan neutral zone.
Oh, man.
And then there's the Romulan commander, who is a woman who starts having the vapors for Spock, and romance and comedy ensues. But
dirty old man.
Every groan is music to my ears.
I think I have multiple personalities,
Check,
like
1, 2.
17.
Checkity check. Okay. Yeah, all right.
Check the cash.
Chuck 1, 2.
Hey, what do you call Chuck Norris laying on the ground?
What?
Ground Chuck.
I was really thinking that would measure like 7 on the Richter scale or something.
I'm not the only wise one here.
Don't let retro fool you. When he was a kid, he thought steroids was something you got by sitting on a record player.
Hi, kids. This is your old pal, Stinky Weasel Teeth.
This is a song about a whale. No!
You know what Chuck Norris would say?
You listen to me and follow me very closely on this.
You know how Chuck Norris shaves his beard, right?
A lightsaber?
Close. A metal flat file.
Whoa. That's serious. I have 5 o'clock shadow.
Grinding and sparking.
Yeah, well, he would be a handy person to have around a campfire, you know. It's like man, this fire's going out. Hold on a second. Let me rub my beard and thought. Skirt. Wow. Thanks, Chuck. Everybody gets 1. Poor Spider-Man would be like, that's my line. And then his beard would slap him out of a tree and be like, shut up. Now go fix me a sandwich.
Okay, everybody's always asking me about my cappuccino, frappuccino, frozen kind of thing.
Yes.
So let me quickly give the recipe, since we try to come up with something good and delicious to improve our lives during the conversation pit every week. Okay, so this is my ritual every day. So I get up, well, the night before or the day before, actually brew coffee. You can use any coffee that you want. You can brew coffee, you can use instant coffee and everything, but you put it in a container. And what I do is I stick it in the freezer after it's been brewed and do it for exactly 1 hour. It's at the point right before it starts to freeze, so it's nice and cold. Then you take it out and you put it in the refrigerator, so it's there ready. You get up the next morning. That's sound effects of me getting up in the morning. So you get up and I go over and you get your blender. Okay, or as Arnold Schwarzenegger says, the chopper. Arnold, we have to get to the chopper.
Yes, you have to get to the chopper. Use the chopper.
Yeah. Anyway, my problem is I eyeball everything. Everything I make, my custom soups, my everything else, I just kind of eyeball them. I made a really, really good dip the other day, a vegetable dip. Misun was like tearing it up. But I eyeball, I don't write things down. I've been better at that lately. But anyway, so adjust this recipe as according to your own taste. So I put 6 large cubes of ice in the blender. Then I dump the coffee in there. It's about a cup's worth. Kind of covers the ice, gets up to the top level of the ice is. And then I throw in, if you have roasted almonds, that's the best way to do it, is to get raw almonds and roast them and everything. But you can also use peanuts. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm drinking some, and I used peanuts. And it's important to use, and when I say you just use like 6 or 7 or maybe 8 or something, just a small handful. And because you shoot a little milk in there, just like a tablespoon of milk. And what happens is when you blend it, milk will bubble up like crazy. Well, not only do you get that nutty flavor, but the shards of nuts actually pop the bubbles, and it condenses it to make it thick. So there's a reason. It's an engineering thing. Anyway, so I also put in aloe vera. We get actual aloe leaves, these big aloe leaves, and we fillet them up, and I keep them, and it's all gooey, and it does really good things to the body. So that's the way I consume it every day, a little bit of that. But anyway, it adds to the thickness also. What else did I put in there? A couple of drops, 3 or 4 or so of real vanilla extract, the real thing. Also, you have to have chocolate, so it's a mocha thing. You can use off-the-shelf chocolate syrup. I actually make my own chocolate syrup. I know I sound real anal about all this, but back when I was a kid, you used to get chocolate syrup, the big H. I won't mention them by name, but it's the big H. There's a town in Pennsylvania named after them, but anyway. And used to get the syrup in a can. It was the real thing. Nowadays, it's basically high fructose corn syrup. Don't get me started on high fructose corn syrup. It's basically,
man.
yeah, it's basically corn syrup. My generation was experimented on with margarine and high fructose corn syrup and on and on. I have this conspiracy theory thing about that big cola company. They got rid of their classic one and was going to have the new one. And everybody freaked out and they brought the classic back. Actually, it's not the actual real formula they had back in the day. It has to do with high fructose corn syrup in the mid-'80s, but that's kind of where it came in. But anyway, you can use off-the-shelf chocolate syrup in this little squeeze bottles. But basically nowadays it's high fructose corn syrup, and corn syrup. And they put chocolate in it. So you're drinking corn syrup that's chocolate flavored, basically. But I make the real thing, and it sounds like. But anyway, I put that in. And it actually acts as a thickening agent as well as flavoring. Anyway, you grind all that up and pour it in a big cup, get the big round straws, those big straws, like you get at the big coffee shops. It adds to the experience, but you can buy those for like $1 for a giant bag of them, and they last forever. Anyway, you grind that up. You're good to go, and it will definitely sharpen your pencil.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, that's my drug of.
That sounds pretty good.
That's definitely my drug of choice, I guess. That, and it fuels me. I have that as soon as I get up. And Dark One, just this morning, I think you this afternoon. I don't know. The days are running together. I've been taking cat naps.
What day is it?
But yeah, we had server issues, and it turned out to be like a router issue. So, I woke up and everything's down. And actually, Dark One experienced me today without my Frappuccino cappuccino thing, and just completely raw. Well, I don't know. I was probably very lethargic and grumpy.
Honestly, you're still sharper than most on tons of caffeine.
I appreciate that. I don't know if you heard the little beep in the background, but actually that's what I do is we brew coffee ahead of time, and then what I do is I put it in a container and put it in the freezer, set the timer, and it just went off, so it's ready. A whole batch is ready. I promise I won't drink it right now, but but anyway, it'll definitely sharpen your pencil.
Well, I know how I am when I'm either sleep deprived or I haven't had enough caffeine. Usually it's both. I ramble to the point where I don't know what I'm saying. And
was that what it was? Okay.
Oh yeah.
The beauty of a text message is that it transcends time. You respond at your leisure. Well, unless it's from your wife, then you have 30 seconds.
Thanks for joining us for the Electron Show, the program for the positively charged culture. Your host was Retro. Join us on the World Wide Web at www.electronmagazine.com. This is your announcer, Mystery, inviting you to join us for each episode as we explore all things awesome. Copyright for The Electron Show and Electron Magazine is by our Executive Director and Producer, Tony Rollo. All rights reserved.
Adios.